So I have got a lot of tanks in my studio, but in this area I was going for a bit more of a realistic vibe. So recently I've done these two tanks. They actually need some of the floating plants removed because I've been like growing them to harvest and take to the fish shop, and then I can swap for fish. So let me just sort those out. Okay, there we go. Now we can see the tanks a lot better. So in this one, we have got green neon tetra, and they're normally out a little bit more than that, but obviously we've just been right in the tank and it's sort of cleared up a bit now. It's a little bit dusty because I've just disturbed everything, but we're going for a real natural sort of look, just wood, and it kind of represents the environment that these guys are from. And then next to them, I was going for like a slow stream look for my dwarf Danios that you can see there. There's also a couple of baby barbs as well that are growing out in this tank. But yeah, we're just going for a really cool sort of realistic vibe on this top shelf. Now, the main reason I redid these tanks is because they had duckweed infested in the top and it took over. So when I rebuilt them, I made sure there was no duckweed left. Now, the same cannot be said for this tank here. It's so thick with duckweed, you can barely see inside, but look at that lot, it just takes over. So this is the next one that I want to sort of break down and rebuild. So we've currently got silver tip tetras in here that have been breeding, and there's baby ones as well. Or they're not babies anymore, they're smaller. And there's a load of orange sakura shrimp in that as well, and snails. I've just got to get all of these out, put them in storage tanks, and then I can get rebuilding again. And today's video is sponsored by API and AQUARIAN. Throughout the video, I'm going to be using all of the products that you can see in front of me. We're going to be using root tabs for nutrients in the substrate system, Aqua Essential for making our tap water safe, Leaf Zone for fertilization, AccuClear to get that water crystal clear, the Freshwater Master Test Kit for making sure everything's safe for our fish, and our food selection from Aquarium to make sure the fish have got all the nutrients they need. Oh yeah, and not to forget Quick Start. When we're starting up a tank, this stuff is gold and allows you to add fish straight away. More on each product as we use them, but for now, back to the video. So I've taken out the wood, the rocks, and all of the floating plants. There is a good amount of shrimp in here, actually. I couldn't even see them before, but they've been breeding well, doing good. I'm going to take them out temporarily. I think I'll add them back into the, the scape that we're going to make today. But all of these plants that you're seeing would be bright red if not for that duckweed. Before it took over, this was like a completely red tank. It produced the most vibrant reds. That's down to the lighting. So we've got twin star lighting at the top here. This is like an older model. I don't even think you can buy it now, but it does have more of a sort of pinkish hue to it when you compare it to all the other lights. And that does really, really bring out the reds. But anyway, I now need to pull up those plants because I won't be able to catch everything else. It's going to make a mess though, which is a shame, but needs must. There we go, the water's cleared down a bit now, and we can see there's quite a bit of life in here. These shrimp are buried as well, which means they've got eggs, well, babies technically. The eggs are produced in the saddle on their back, and then when they're fertilized or mating, I guess, there's a male right there next to them, the little one. The eggs drop just into that area behind their legs. You can see it's all yellow and full. So I'm going to put all these fish together with the shrimp because they've been absolutely fine. Put them in one of my storage tanks. And because I've just put all the fish in the 8-foot build, I've now got lots of room in my storage tanks. Yeah, the whole fish wall was basically taken up from the over 100 fish in the 8-foot tank, which I've just added, and that video is already out. But yeah, we've got plenty free now. They can all go in this one here, to be honest. And here we go, look, a good amount of, oh, gotta get over the top, fish and shrimp in there. All the temperatures match, guys, so don't worry about that. Look at that lot. Brilliant, I'll use them again in another scape, or maybe add them to an existing tank. Not sure yet. And that means I can now drain down the tank, although I can almost guarantee there'll still be a couple of shrimp or a fish or something left, so I'll be careful draining it down. And then I want to reuse the substrate, but I need this water out first. I need to get all that duckweed cleaned off of it because I don't want it going anywhere near the new scape, and I need to clean the filter at the back as well. So that is the tank cleaned up as much as we need it to be. I always find tanks easy to clean when they've actually got water in them. Just get a razor scraper. But usually I'll take everything out and start again. but there's nothing wrong with what we've got in here now. It's going to be quite nutrient depleted, so I will put some root tabs in, but this is going to act as a great base just to create height at the back, because I want big bouldery rocks in here. Because when we look at the tanks at the moment, obviously on this side, we've got really harsh looking Siriu stone, jagged edges, that kind of thing. Then we've got pretty much all wood in this one and nice sort of brown tones. And then I want to go for big rounded pebbles and lots of mixed detail rocks in front of them with like plants interlaced in and amongst them and wood coming out the top, and then loads of... So I don't think I'm going to fill this tank right up. I think I'm going to have to have it down a little bit so I can have a load of immersed plants, kind of like on the side there, but rather than one point, it could be like either side. I think that'll look really cool. Yeah, let's just supercharge this substrate. This aquasoil has been in this tank for like, well, getting on for a year now, so it will need some refreshing. And that is where the first of our products come into play, API root tabs. You guys know how much I use these, hence why I've got a whole box of them here. I pretty much use them on every build if I'm putting plants in. So each pack comes with 10 tablets. Now I'll probably use 10 on like a bigger tank, so I only need to use half a pack for these. Tablets are this size. I don't know if you're seeing that, but they're this size. And I like to just snap them up into smaller pieces, and just then you can get a bit more of an even coverage over a larger area. And it's just a case of popping each tablet out. If I go for halves, maybe even thirds or quarters, just push it in, push it in. The good thing is in this soil, look, I can see exactly where I've placed them because there's a hole in each one. Now remember, plants are clever, and their roots will find the highest sort of nutrient source in the substrate. So we've basically covered all the areas there. So it doesn't matter where we plant, the roots are going to find those nutrients, which is awesome because it gives us a bit more freedom. Basically the whole substrate system now is ready to go. But that said, I still do want to cap all of this because it doesn't really look like the look I want to go for, but I do want the ability to bring the height up, and I don't just want to use a ton of sand. So over the top now, I'll cap it with sand, and then I can add my boulders in, or big cobbly rocks, smooth, roundy, stony things. That doesn't sound good, does it? River cobbles. Anyway, that's not important. I'm just going to cap the whole lot, and then I can add details and everything else after. And for the capping, I'm just using normal, well, I don't know if it's normal, but pool filter sand, because it's so cheap. And it always does a really good job. We've just blended in with all the other detail stones that I like to put on the top, and I'm pouring it in the front here so it doesn't actually push down any of the aqua soil, and that way we can trap it all in underneath. If I'd have started up there, it would have fallen down and pulled the aqua soil with it. There we go, that's all capped off. Very, very high background on this one. Probably going about, almost halfway up the tank, look. But, that's just to give us that height for the rocks and give us a really good sense of perspective and depth. But if I get those rocks in now, we can add details because that looks so boring like that. We're not keeping it like that. Let's just start playing around with some cobbles and seeing how they look. So let's just go over to the shop, my little shop. Down here, look, so I've got a lot of Siriu stone and everything like that. That's not what we're after here. I want lots of stones basically like that, but a bit bigger and rounded. So there's one there, that's one for instance. It's a good one, quite like that. And I'm just picking out anything that looks to me like it would go, like that one's good. Oh, that was stuck for some reason. Yeah, so like they all sort of complement each other on the color palette as well. I'll have that one, it's got some nice algae on it. It looks like authentic already. Oh, you're good as well. Well, it's just a start obviously, but I can really see like some cool depth there. I've gone for like a middle channel. I think it's working really well. It always looks a little bit odd at this stage though. We've got plenty more detail to go. I want sticks coming over each side, but nice thin ones. So we've got the big chunky wood in this one. We've got a couple of little twigs in this one, but the look is completely different on all three tanks. And that's what I was going for. I wanted people to be able to come in and go, like be drawn to each one for its own individual look. Yeah, some of the spiderwood is the stuff that I'm wanting on this. Like longer pieces, quite thin, but will like sort of drape over the rocks. Well, I thought I'd just chuck that in to see how it looks. I think it looks really cool. It's going to serve a great purpose of being able to put in different plants and lock them behind it, which will keep them upright. It's a little close to the light, but what can I do about that? I could probably push this side in a little bit more, but it looks pretty cool. It's creating like a sort of central arch, making the sort of depth of that middle bit look even deeper. I could probably bring some other little ones on this side as well, just to tie it in, and then maybe just leave that side as it is. Yeah, I'll give it a go. At this stage, it's just trying stuff out, chucking it in, seeing what you think, and I like that. I'm not perfect on it though, so I'll just see if there's any better pieces. Oh no, nailed it. Now I've done that. Now I've added that little bit at the side. It just brings it over and doesn't look like it's just clumped in the middle. Keep that side open, more room for plants, but it's got like a 3D look to it. I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but like comes right out at you. We've still got loads of light underneath, which is great. And this is going to be the area. I haven't even told you guys yet what fish we're putting in. Well, the thumbnail and title have obviously given it away, but in this tank here is an absolutely load of homebred Endlers, and also a fairy cichlid at the back there. There's a couple actually. But yeah, I bred these ages ago. The original parents are long gone, and these are the offspring, completely varied as well. And they were in this tank where the neons I've just spooked have all gone and hidden, but they were in this tank before I made this for the green neons. And again, the reason I took them out was because I just wanted to do this. For some reason, I had an urge to do a blackwater tank with loads of detail, and I just went and did it. And I knew I was going to be doing something for the Endlers, because they've got a special place in my heart, having been bred by me a long while ago. And I think this is going to be perfect for them. It's a decent sized tank for only a small amount of Endlers, but by the time I planted everything, the main area is going to be right in this center. So yeah, I'm going to put some detail down now. Like, I don't really want to see a lot of sand, if I'm honest. That was just there to cap. I want to put in all the detail on top. And down here, I've got like a big mixture of different gravels and things, of different gradings and pebbles. These need washing, but I'm just going to mix them all in together, chuck it all in, and yeah, it should look pretty good. The best way to get a natural looking substrate is to have lots of different kinds, similar tones, but varying in sizes, the odd darker flecks and that as well. Should look really nice. So I started with the finest of the sand and basically just covered the whole surface. This sand has way more detail than just the initial capping layer. I think it looks a bit more authentic. Eventually it'll mix in a little bit. And then after that, added in more coarse stones with a bit more details on colours, darker flecks. Ties it in really, really nicely with the cobbles we've used as well. And then it's the larger stones. In my opinion, these are the thing that really make it all come together best, because they're like mini versions of the cobbles, and you just get that full grading then all the way down to the sand. That's the best way to do it. And here is the final result. I will be adding some like little bits of wood and stuff as well, but I'm absolutely loving that level of detail. Right, the good news is we can start planting the tank now, and I've got quite a good selection over in my plant store. In this tank here, I've got some really nice ferns and some red plants as well, but won't be using those in this scape. The one next door's got lots of stems, and as you can see, all of the plants are in a little bit of water with a lid on top of the tank, and that just keeps it really humid. It's basically like a mini greenhouse. We've got lots of crypts in this tank and some really nice bolbitis, and then this one's got lots of buses and anubias. This tank here has all our easy grow plants, and I'll definitely be using some of them. And I want to start by adding some detail into all the gravel. So I've got Halanthia tenellum. It's a carpeting plant, but it looks kind of like scraggly and grassy. It doesn't grow too fast, so I think that'll be perfect. There we go, our first plant in. It doesn't give massive impact straight away, but eventually it carpets everywhere and looks awesome. But to start with, it does give a really good little detail. This is another tank I set up a month ago, and you can see how well the same plant here is creeping everywhere and looking really, really good. It'll fill everything in within a few months, and there's no CO2 on this tank either. The next plants will be Cryptocoryne costata and Pogostemon erectus, giving us even more textured details and more green. Now it is kind of important not to rush this part because I'm just looking for areas where I think a bigger sort of plant leaf, or bigger leafed plant, should I say, that will add a bit more interest to an area where there's not a lot going on. So like I'm taking this one, I'm putting it in corners because it will fill out the section between the two rocks, and that should look really good as time goes on. It's quite small now, but they will get a lot bigger. Now the Pogostemon, very vibrant, but does get quite tall. So we want to make sure we're planting it in areas where it's not going to just hit the surface straight away. Foreground's going to work well because it'll fill out these two bits either side, giving more depth or sense of depth to the stuff at the back. So I'm going to do a couple on each side. They kind of look like mini trees as well. This one's shorter, so I can place it there. And the good thing about Pogostemon is that after it's been growing for a couple of weeks here, I'll just be able to trim the tops off and I can replant it again. Yeah, I really like that so far. It's given us a sense of like a tiny little creek somewhere. And that's exactly the vibe I was going for. Love it. Right, I'm gonna put some epiphytes on. I'm gonna go in some of the gaps. Not too many though, I want the fish to be able to swim wherever they want, and they're gonna have babies, so they need refuge as well, which will be all amongst those rock piles. It's all coming together though. So next up, we've got my absolute favorite boost, which is Booth Theai. Anyway, it looks so, so nice. Look at those leaves. Love it. And we've got Anubias Nana Bonsai, and then Anubias Nana. So look, you can see the difference in leaf sizes, but again, different sizes, textures, it just looks much better. And the Anubias doesn't need to be stuck down. I can just place it in any gaps that I find where it will lodge nicely. And then the same for the Boost as well. I find Boost can do really well in more shaded areas. It does well in like bright areas, but if it isn't a shaded bit like that, a bit of a bad leaf there, yeah, it doesn't hurt it. I see a really nice spot there. Yeah, I like that. And I just had a thought, where on earth am I going to put the filter? I think it'll be all right. I think I can bring that piece of wood there forward a little and it can sit behind that, or I can put it on the other side in a gap between those rocks, but we can work that out once it's filled up, which I would like to do now. And then if I need to plant any more, I can. But what that means is all the plants will be underwater and I won't need to rush the next phase. So we want to make sure we're filling the tank up nice and slowly. It means it'll fill up reasonably clear as well. If we do it too fast, we'll disturb all of the sand and all that aqua soil will come floating to the surface. So we don't want that, nice and steady. Now, a lot of you will be wondering how I'm filling this up. So basically we've got here the inlet for an old aquarium filter that I had. I attached a ball valve there and then a hose that goes over to a reel so I can put it anywhere around the studio, and then the reel goes into a pump inside this water butt. I fill this up with tap water. From there it's disconnected, but yeah. And then when the water barrel has been filled up, I put in API's Aqua Essential, the right amount for this volume. This is 200 litres, so I just do the right measurement. And this stuff's great because it makes my tap water safe. So it detoxifies ammonia, nitrite and nitrate in higher doses if you've got like a big problem in one of your aquariums. Fortunately, we don't need it for that, but you never know, do you? But the main thing I use it for is removing chlorine, chloramines and heavy metals from your tap water. You only need a small amount of it as well, so this stuff lasts for ages. And as you can imagine, I get through quite a bit of water. So yeah, it's very, very good, very simple, great value for money. And if you haven't got this, just get it. We keep a bottle over here. Like if me and my wife fill this up, just put it in, job done, nothing to worry about. Aqua Essential, it's essential. So that's the tank filled up. It's now time to get some filtration sorted. And for that, I've got a very simple hang on the back filter. All it's got in it is two sponges. I put a coarse one in and a fine one, and that is it. I mean, most of the biological filtration will be done in the substrate. This is more just for mechanical and pushing some water around. It will hold some beneficial bacteria as well in the sponges, but predominantly that's going to be in the substrate. Now the trick is going to be finding the gap for it. That looks like a good spot there. I'll move that bit of wood. Oh, perfect. Yes. Fits in just right. The wood can sit in front of it. Ideal. It just works so well. You can barely see it. And to start it, you have to fill it with water and then plug it in. That's like called priming it. And then it flows. It's pretty decent for what it is. It's very, very cheap. I'll leave a link if you guys are interested. It's an Amazon Amazon filter, but it works really well. Now currently the water's a little bit misty. It's just like small particles just getting floated up into the water column. I mean, we didn't actually clean anything, so it makes sense. But this little bottle of magic will get rid of that haze so fast. So within the next hour, this will look like gin. I always say that because that's what it looks like. We'll go with vodka, or should we just go with clear water? Now, as with all API products, you do not need a lot of this. Oh, well, I need the lid though. Yeah, you do not need a lot of this. So for this size tank, let me just check actually, because this one here is like 90 litres. So we actually need like a quarter of a capful. So it's literally just a tiny drop like that, and that is enough. And what it does is it puts all of those fine particles that are floating in the water, they clump together, and then the filter just takes them out. And you need to make sure you've got fine filter floss in your filter, because that's what captures it. Otherwise, it will just keep floating around. But most filters have got some sort of fine grabber or floss, don't they? So whilst that's happening and clearing, I can get sorted on some plants in the top section, just like what we've got next door, but I want them kind of everywhere. So down here, I've sampled off some devil's ivy or pothos, whatever you want to call it. This comes from one of my other tanks. So this is Timmy the Turtle's tank. Say hello, Timmy. Yeah. Yeah, up in his tank at the top here, there was so much of it, and it was trailing backwards and forwards where I'd looped it so many times, and it's kind of pushed the rest forwards. Hang on, you can't see because of the lighting. There we go. It was trailing backwards and forwards, so I've just removed a huge section of it. It'll keep growing in there, and now it'll keep growing in the new tank as well. It's okay, buddy. It's going to grow back. So I'm thinking, just lay it in, sort of interlock it on all the wood, and then bring it back on itself as well, and sort of lock it on itself. Some of it needs to be in the water, obviously, so the root parts. Yeah, I like the way that comes round. That looks cool. We've got our main roots in the water there, so they'll be pulling up all the nutrients from the water column and further filtering it. Yeah, I'm liking that. Some of the leaves are pointing down on that at the moment, but they will reach towards the lights above us. Where are they? Where are they? There they are. And I just love putting plants on the top of tanks. I just think it makes the whole tank seem way bigger and more natural. You can sort of see like it's a water's edge then, and I just think it works well. And I've got it on most of my plants, tanks in the middle section, the one behind, in this one. Look at this huge peace lily as well. So you can use devil's ivy, peace lily. Over here I've got monstera, more peace lilies. Yeah, it's just always looks good. And there we go then, an hour and a half later, and we are crystal clear. But looking at it now, I think it needs a little bit more. Like if you were on a budget and you could only afford a few pots of plants, you can stick with this and then trim the stem plants as they grow, replant them, and just allow everything to fill in. But I just want to get a bit more of a finished look, mainly for you guys now, for the end of the video and when I'm putting the fish in. So I'm going to add some plants. Now, hopefully this doesn't mess it up too much, but I want a bit more of a bushier feel on the sides. So I'm going to put some limnophila just in that gap in the back there. And hopefully, oh, I keep dragging it out, so tight back there. There we go, different angle of attack. Yeah, adding in a bit more of that limnophila in those cracks and along the side will give us more of that sort of enclosed feeling. Also, it grows really fast, so it's really good for startup as well. So I'm just gonna keep doing that for a bit and then see if I'm happy with it. There we go, look. So I added in 2 pieces this side, 2 pieces this side, and then just one at the base, or not the base, but the top of the vanishing point at the back there. And I think it just, I don't know, it sort of amplifies the middle area a little bit more. I just want a few more shorter pieces of green coming in here and in here, just to accentuate it even more. And I'm going to use my Chrysanthemum umbrosum for that. It's basically like giant pearlweed. There we go. I managed to get these from another tank, divided them all up into little stems. I'm just going to plug them in the right places. They look so good, don't they? And there we go, look, just adds a touch more detail to it all. Speaking of which, I do want floating plants as well. And what better than the mini water lettuce? It just looked perfect, filling in that sort of air at the top. It's a bit of a void at the moment. Got some pieces here, I think it'll be enough. I want to tuck it in amongst the sticks at the back though. Usually these will go wherever they want, but we've got enough wood at the top here to sort of lock them in place. And then they'll just trail down between the gaps. There we go, absolutely loving that, like a little fish wonderland. I'll let that clear again, put some more AquaClear, come in the morning, and it should be perfect and ready to add the Endlers. So we're nice and clear, we are ready to put in our fish. But first of all, I just want to add some fertilizer to the tank because all these plants, you know, they're new in, they haven't got their root systems established yet. So they'll be able to pull nutrients from the water column if we fertilize it. And for that job, I will be using Leaf Zone. Now, Leaf Zone is the only fertilizer I've used for like the past 4.5 years. And I think you can all agree that the plants grow pretty well in all of the tanks around the studio. So just follow the instructions on the back. Always give your bottle a shake because the sediment just settles a bit. That's the same with any bottles you buy from any company. Always shake them up. So for this size tank, I'm gonna need a full capful. Job done. And then a lot of people ask me how often I fertilize. Well, I tend to do it when I top up the water, which works out about once a week. But if I notice that a tank is, the leaves aren't looking quite as vibrant as I'd like, I'll be adding it in more often. So just go by how many plants you'd like. If you've got loads of plants in a tank, they'll use more nutrients, obviously, so you have to add more. But for this amount, just follow the instructions. At the moment, there isn't a huge amount in there, so we don't need more than what is stated. But as always, it's down to you to look at the plants yourself to decide. If you see that they're not as vibrant, add some more. Right, we're ready. We can add in our fish. Here we go then. The Endlers are going in. Oh, this is very tight. There they are. A few snails as well. Snails are always good. I'm probably going to add a few more, to be honest, as well. Look at that. Oh, they look great. They look great. So these fish are Endler hybrids, and I can't remember what the original strain was, but you know, they don't look like your standard Endlers, but they are fully grown. They are all babies from the original fish that I put in. The original fish died ages ago, and these are the babies, and there's even smaller ones, so there's several generations, and they're just going to continue breeding in here as well. They're moving around the tank really nicely. I love that. Now in a tank this size, you could probably put more in, but you know, why is there any need? They breed so fast as it is. But they seem to be enjoying the space. Now I completely cleaned out the whole filter, which means that we need to add in some beneficial bacteria. For that, we have got Quick Start, stuffs like Magic. I've used it again for years and years. Basically every API product you see me using has been for like 4.5 years. So I always start up fish tanks with fish in, and I always use Quick Start to get things going. So this one, for this size tank, I need 3 of these. And that is plenty, especially with this fish load. If I was going for more fish, I'd add in a little bit more. But 3 capfuls, 90 litres, absolutely perfect. Basically what this stuff does is it seeds the tank, and then the beneficial bacteria you've added in from this starts growing more and more and colonizes to account for the amount of fish you've got or waste being produced by plants and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I never get problems with startup. If you're going to do a fishing cycle at home and you've not got experience with it, start with just a few fish. Get 1 or 2 fish, put them in, and then next week put in a few more, and then the week after you can add in like the total amount you want. But I'm very experienced with this now. I've done it so many times, so I'm fine to put in like, you know, quite a few fish straight away. And what I'll do in the morning is come in, use my Freshwater Master test kit, and I'll test for any ammonia and nitrite. And if I'm seeing anything at all, I'll just do a 50% water change. I'll do the same the next day and the next day until I'm not seeing any spikes. To be honest, with this fish load and the amount of plants, and we've got the immersed plants as well, I'm not going to experience anything tomorrow, but that doesn't mean to say that you won't. So you always need to test. I'm just very experienced now. I'll still test anyway, but I know I won't see anything. There has been rare occasions where I have though, which is why I still always do test the next day when I add fish. And I always like to give new fish in a tank a little bit of a feed. Now we haven't got any cories or any reason for the sinking pellets, and we haven't got any algae eaters either, but we have got small mouths. So that is where Aquarian's Tropical Flake comes in perfect. Here we go, look, I always think it's really nice just to feed them straight away and get them knowing that the tank that they're in is not a threat at all. It's all good. Oh, we get fed in here as well. Little tap when you put food in so they know next time. Give a little tap. There we go. Now, obviously the fish are tiny, so they don't need a lot of food. Just a tiny little sprinkle like that every morning. All good. And any uneaten food or waste they produce falls down, goes in beneath all of the gravel and sand, and becomes food for the plants as well. And I tend to get a lot of comments saying, how do you gravel vac a tank like this? I have never gravel vacked any of my planted tanks. I just leave all that waste to go into the substrate system, and then you have got more food for the plants. Food, nutrients, I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? They're really enjoying this, look. Not gonna be any left in a second. In fact, I'll give them another little sprinkle because, you know, that's gone very fast. So there we have it, another really nice tank added to the collection on that top shelf. What I really love is it's so different from the two next to it. It just adds a lot more interest to this area of the studio. 3 completely different fish in each tank, and each one offering its own individual style. And I'm hoping that the Endlers continue to breed in this tank, the population increases because they all look so beautiful. As the tank grows in, I'll be sure to keep that middle section in a sort of circular gap. I'm really pleased that I've managed to create a sense of like a cave in the back area. The black hole at the back really does look like it goes all the way back. It's probably one of the first times I've been able to achieve that, so it's definitely something I'll bear in mind in future scapes as well. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I'll be quiet now and you can watch the fish.